Picture yourself at Magic Kingdom. Let's say
What up? What up?
Wednesday, September 13th, 2017 to be exact. It's a relatively light day in terms of crowds, during the typical slow season. You check wait times at 12:30 p.m. and see plenty of choices of what you could ride next. You can get on Space Mountain in 20 minutes, Haunted Mansion in 15 minutes, or Pirates of the Caribbean in 10 minutes. The average wait time across the whole park is just 22 minutes. You get on plenty of rides, enjoy a couple of snacks, watch the parade and fireworks show, and make your way back to the hotel. It's everything you wanted, and you had an amazing time. Fast forward 8 years later to the same Wednesday in 2025, September 10th. You check wait times at 12:30 p.m. and now see Space Mountain is posting a 35-minute wait, Haunted Mansion 45 minutes, and Pirates of the Caribbean 35 minutes. The average wait time for the day has now drifted up to 29 minutes, an increase of about 32%. You try to get a snack, but the lines are incredibly.
I don't know if any of y'all been to Disney World, but that shit is real fun. I've been there. I was there when I was a little kid. Haven't been back. But the fact I do remember that it was a long wait times of them goddamn rides. It was like 30-minute wait times every fucking time. I do remember that.
long. You struggle to find a decent spot to watch the parade, and you end up skipping the fireworks because you don't want to get caught up in the crowd trying to make your way back to the bus loop. The day was stressful and overwhelming, definitely not how you remember it. So,
Yeah, because when you remember it, you were a fucking kid. You didn't have no worries. Now, you're the adult. I gotta pay for all this shit. Oh my god.
big deal. The parks have gotten more popular, and as a result,
I see why my dad was stressing the fuck out. What the fuck?
more crowded, right? Well, not exactly. For one, you can do this with numerous other days across a similar span of years with different parks and get very comparable results. And if we look at annual attendance data, well, it's actually still lower than the pre-pandemic highs. Magic Kingdom saw about 17.84 million visitors in 2025, compared to 20.45 million in 2017, a decrease of just under 13%. So, we have over 2.5 million less visitors coming to the park, but we aren't experiencing lower waits. It's only logical to think that if attendance drops, the park should feel more empty. But it doesn't. In fact, if you've been to the parks over the past few years, you might notice that it feels more packed than ever, despite the numerous articles citing how far attendance has dropped. So, what happened? Sometime back in 2020, you might recall a certain global event that shut everything down. When the parks reopened, they introduced the park reservation system, a system that required you to make a reservation to enter the park, even if you held a day ticket or an annual pass. This system was expected to be temporary while the parks went through a phased reopening. However, years later, the mechanics of the reservation system remain the foundation of their operation. Even though date-based tickets technically don't need a separate booking anymore, the data collection is exactly the same. You tell them exactly when you are coming, and they staff accordingly. This reservation system gives Disney a very accurate number of guests that will attend each park in a given day. While they have always had an idea based on historical data, ticket sales, hotel bookings, and dining reservations, they were never as accurate as they were with the park reservation system. This allows them to change how they staff the park. In the old days, Disney staffed for a potential busy day just in case. If fewer people showed up, you got lucky. You got a slow day, with full staff and empty lines. Now, if the
Man, them days used to be fucking chill. Like I don't live near Disney World. I live in Texas. But Six Flags, hey, them slow days. Oh my god. When you were a kid, this should be crazy. You mean I can ride the Texas Giant 5 times? What the fuck is going on here? I'm gonna do it every time.
reservation data shows attendance will be lower than expected, they don't just give you a slow day, they cut the labor to match the crowd. They might schedule fewer security guards, fewer bus drivers, run less ride vehicles, only use a single load station, and staff less cashiers at quick service restaurants and retail locations. Back in September 2021, at the Goldman Sachs Communacopia conference, former CEO Bob Chapek called the reservation system the backbone of our yield management strategy. Yield management is a term used to describe a variable pricing strategy centered on understanding, anticipating, and influencing consumer behavior to maximize revenue from a fixed, perishable resource. This is the exact same business model used by airlines and hotels. Think about booking a flight. The airline has a fixed number of seats. They use algorithms to adjust prices and capacity in real time based on bookings and searches for those flights. If demand is low, they don't just fly a half-empty plane and lose money. They might consolidate flights or use a smaller aircraft to save on fuel and crew costs. Disney is applying the same airline logic to its theme parks, and Chapek was pretty open about it. The goal isn't exactly to fill the park, it's to ensure they never waste money on operational expenses. But staffing is only part of the problem. There are numerous other changes that the parks went through that make the experience far worse for guests and much more shareholder-focused. Over the last decade, investment has been poured almost exclusively into high-yield assets. We've seen an explosion in bed capacity, almost exclusively deluxe category or DVC resorts aside from
I said at the Animal Kingdom, where the fucking giraffes can come up to your window and you can feed them motherfuckers. She was crazy. All right. Disney has some of the best fucking hotels I've ever seen in my life. And it's not even close. It's not even close, nigga.
a few outliers. The Grand Destino Tower, the Riviera Resort, the new Polynesian Tower, and now the new Lakeshore Lodge. More rooms
Boy.
means more people on property, and DVC.
And see, these aren't even the fucking Disney ones. All right. They have fucking like a magic place, a Disney castle. They got some crazy shit. Like, bro, if you can save some money and go to Disney World, do it, please.
Which is essentially a timeshare program, encourages a lot more return visitors staying for potentially weeks at a time. And while they were building all of these new resorts, they neglected to pour the same investment into the infrastructure required to move these people around. The bus loops are congested, and some resorts are now combined into one bus route instead of getting their own unique route. If you're paying
That sucks. I remember, yeah, we used to have they used to have these little mini buses. They weren't these buses. There was these little small ass buses that could hold like maybe 8 people, 8 to 10, and them hoes would just be shipping niggas out.
the insane premium to stay at the Grand Floridian, you're now sharing a bus with the Polynesian, plus the new 268-room DVC tower. The monorail.
So what they did is got rid of those small buses and got these big ass buses. They did already have these big buses, but they were running small buses at first. I remember, bro.
Rails were never expanded beyond the original resorts, and were never intended to house the Polynesian Tower, Bay Lake Tower, and the Grand Floridian DVC expansion. We do now have the Skyliner, which was an important addition that connects some of the highest density resorts on property to both Epcot and Hollywood Studios. However, it replaced a large number of buses that used to move guests between these properties. And crucially, unlike a bus, the Skyliner shuts down if the wind is too high or during lightning, which is certainly not a rare occurrence in Florida summers.
Oh, that was the other thing. Boy, I'm talking about every time you step outside in Florida, in Orlando, Florida, that bitch is about to rain. It don't matter. It's going to be humid as fuck, and it's raining nonstop.
Or it might shut down for various other unknown reasons. And since the Skyliner was built as a replacement to buses rather than an expansion, when the Skyliner shuts down, guests now have to flood to the bus stops that are no longer staffed to handle them. But if you don't want to deal with overcrowding on the free transportation, Disney introduced a paid solution: minivans. Instead
They been having these bitch ass things.
of waiting 45 minutes for the bus, you can now pay upwards of $50 or more for a private ride. Monetization of the problem.
So what they did was they got rid of the fucking buses that they used to have and made a fucking lift. Oh, that's crazy, dude.
That they created.
That's crazy, dude.
Now let's take a look inside the parks. If you walk through Tomorrowland today, you might unknowingly walk past the building that housed Stitch's Great Escape. It's been closed since 2018. Inside, there are 2 massive theaters capable of eating nearly 1,500 guests per hour. But for years, it's sat abandoned. We see the same thing at Epcot with the Wonders of Life Pavilion, an entire building that once housed 2 attractions, Body Wars and Cranium Command, that now sits completely abandoned. That is, thousands of guests who could be indoors or experiencing attractions who are instead pushed back into the walkways. But even where they have built new rides, the majority of them have been replacing people eaters, which are long duration, high capacity attractions, with churn and burn experiences. Let's look at something that we'll call occupied guest minutes.
So they getting rid of like the fucking movies and shit that they used to show because niggas just sitting there and enjoying. That shit's crazy, bro.
Metric that calculates how well an attraction keeps guests actively engaged or entertained. The Great Movie Ride at Hollywood Studios was a 22-minute experience, with a capacity roughly of 2,200 guests per hour. That building generated roughly 48,400 occupied minutes every single hour. That is 48,000 minutes that guests were air-conditioned, entertained, and crucially not standing in a walkway, in another queue, inside a shop, or waiting for their food at a restaurant. Its replacement, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, is now a more popular ride, although it's only a 5-minute experience.
What the fuck?
Even if it has the same throughput of 2,200 guests per hour, it only generates roughly 12,000 occupied minutes per hour. That is a 75% reduction in the building's ability to hold crowds. By swapping the ride, they dumped the equivalent of 30,000 minutes worth of occupied entertainment back into the park every single hour. And because of its more modern trackless ride system, downtime occurs a lot more frequently than its
I don't understand. I thought you want people to stay there at your fucking place, but I guess they're not spending money. They're not spending money.
older predecessors due to their extremely fragile and complex systems, so its capacity of 2,200 riders per hour is likely a generous overstatement. We see a similar pattern at Epcot. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind replaced the Universe of Energy. Now, to be fair, the Universe
Epcot, hey, Epcot one of the best goddamn what do you call it? Amusement parks? Hey, that bitch, Epcot is fucking crazy.
of Energy wasn't exactly hitting capacity during its final.
Again, I went in 2000. Wait, when did I go? Like 10 or some shit? 8? I don't remember when the fuck I went, but it was a long ass time ago. And I still remember that shit. That shit was lit.
Years, but structurally it was a 45-minute attraction with a capacity of 2,400 riders per hour. Guardians is a 3-minute roller coaster, and while Guardians is a massive hit, it doesn't hold people. Instead of eating crowds inside the ride for nearly an hour, it eats crowds by forcing them to stand in a waiting queue, or for years after it opened, waiting for a virtual queue return time. The guests are still occupied, sure, but they're occupied by simply waiting instead of being entertained. Similar things are happening in Magic Kingdom.
And that's what I don't understand. Like, you got these niggas in the building already. Why don't you just, instead of just putting up fucking 4 walls, or I know it's not 4 walls, why don't you put shit around them to make it the walls look more entertaining? You got these niggas in a fucking room like sheep.
Where cars
got your
are
ass
in Tom Sawyer Island in the Rivers of America, and at Animal Kingdom, where Tropical Americas is replacing Dinoland USA. While these areas of the parks were by no means popular, they still played an important role in offering an immediate zero-wait escape or less popular attractions where people could go and relieve pressure from other areas of the park. By swapping them out for massive headliners, Disney is triggering a phenomenon urban planners call induced demand. The new Cars and Indiana Jones attractions will undeniably draw a massive influx of guests who are there specifically to see the new attraction, but those guests don't just disappear after the ride is done. They spill over into the rest of the park, flooding the walkways and inflating the wait times for everything else. And it's not just rides. We've been seeing an overall reduction in entertainment capacity. For years, Magic Kingdom had...
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. How you lose the entertainment? I don't understand.
Interactive games like Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom and the Frontierland Shooting Arcade. Epcot had a
I remember that
World Showcase Adventure. These games cost nothing and required no line. Thousands of guests could spend hours walking around, solving puzzles, or doing other various tasks. They were occupied, entertained, and crucially, not in a ride queue. When these were shut down, it forced guests to the remaining attractions still open. And these are just some of the many examples of zero-wait entertainment options that were removed and replaced with nothing in return. This makes the park feel more crowded, not because there are more people, but because...
Why do you get rid of fun shit? Shit's just fucking weird. Like, I don't understand how someone can be the head of something and then maybe have children and just devoid the business of all fun. Shit's just fucking weird.
The infrastructure designed to hold those people has now been dismantled.
Hey, y'all gonna have to look at this. Hey, I don't pay for this shit. Y'all gonna have to look at this shit.
Helps you customize and save hundreds on car insurance.
I don't think they know how to play tennis.
Hey,
Not a clue. Only pay for what you need.
I need my fucking money. Oh, I remember a time I could just fucking still skip past the shit. They stopped that.
Shredded pepperoni and toasted cheese.
Shit's lame.
We can finally eat like Spider-Man.
Little Caesars, hell no.
Ooh, that's rough. At least with Safe Flight, you can get that.
Little shitsits.
So the park is understaffed, and the physical capacity to hold guests has been reduced. How does Disney manage the flow of all these people? Well, one of their solutions was to outsource the work. If you've been to a quick service restaurant recently, you might have noticed that the physical registers are often almost entirely unstaffed.
I was about to tell you that. I said these niggas are about to go all AI next. I said this shit is gonna be so unfun. Just about to be in a big ass queue the entire time. This is fucking nuts.
Cut to encourage you to use the My Disney Experience app to place a mobile order. Operationally, this is brilliant for Disney. They effectively have reduced their cashiering staff to the bare minimum. You are the cashier now. You are the one entering your order, processing the payment, and managing the timing for when you pick it up. But while this saves the company on labor costs, it creates more unmanaged crowds. Because sometimes you can't enter the restaurant until your food is ready, and now dozens of people are now clustered around staring at their screens, blocking the flow of traffic. And now, with the introduction of Lightning Lane, ride queues have also gone digital. When you wait in a standby queue today and it stops moving for 5 to 10 minutes at a time, you're dealing with Lightning Lane guests merging in front of you. Estimates suggest the ratio could be as high as 10 to 1. That means for every
Don't make no fucking sense. This shit's already high enough, nigga. Why are you? What?
one standby guest they let through, they could potentially let 10 more Lightning Lane guests in front of you. You are essentially waiting for an invisible crowd of people who are cutting in front of you digitally. Even if the number of people in the queue is low, the speed of the queue has been artificially throttled to prioritize the people who paid extra. And this forces a behavioral shift. Because the only way to beat the crowds is to use the app, guests are no longer looking at the park. They're looking at their phones, with their attention fixed on refreshing a screen to catch the next Lightning Lane, virtual queue drop, or placing their mobile orders. This creates much more traffic friction than necessary. People stop abruptly in the middle of thoroughfares, or the flow of the park becomes sluggish. It's much more difficult.
I've just been shaking my head. This is nasty. This some nasty ass work. Disney World, what the fuck are you doing? This is some nasty ass work, dude.
To enjoy the parks as intended because you are forced to stare at a phone app all day to get basic things done. So, how are they getting away with all of the changes that make the park experience measurably worse for the average guest? Well, Disney has effectively shifted its focus to customers who are willing to pay for the privilege of the friction that they created. And when you pay, the flaws become far less noticeable. During an earnings call in August 2022, Disney executives infamously referred to an unfavorable
Hey, y'all niggas can read. Domestic parks.
attendance mix at Disneyland. To a normal person, a park full of annual pass holders who visit every week sounds like a success. To Disney, that is unfavorable, because those guests don't buy hotels and they don't buy as much merchandise.
What?
More recently, in November 2023, Disney CFO Hugh Johnston told investors that the company's core consumer tends to be at the higher income deciles, and those consumers continue to do well. They aren't trying to fix the
Oh, so they said this is a rich only party. If you ain't got no money, keep your broke ass up out of here.
middle class affordability problem. They are solving it simply by replacing the middle class with a wealthier customer base.
I told you.
And we see this clearly with the removal of extra magic hours. For decades, extra
And see, that's what's crazy. The rich niggas don't even understand they're missing shit. Experience. They don't even understand they're missing all these experiences. They just say, well, I got money, so I'll go again. That is a bad way to look at life, chat.
magic hours was the great equalizer. It didn't matter if you were staying at the Grand Floridian for $1,000 a night or All Star Sports for $100 a night. If you
I just want you to know, money is money. And everybody worked hard for it, nigga. Fuck all that. I want the best experience.
stayed on property, you got to stay in Magic Kingdom until 2 a.m. It was a perk for everyone. Today, that system is gone. It has been replaced by a two-tier class system. Now, the average guest, staying at a value or moderate resort, are restricted to early theme park entry, a meager 30-minute head start in the morning. But the extended evening hours, those 2-hour blocks at night where the park is actually empty, are now exclusively reserved for guests staying at deluxe resorts, who also still
See that Animal Kingdom Lodge? Hey, I'm telling you what, the shit was lit. All right, fucking animals coming up to your fucking window. What the fuck? And I'm talking about African animals, not none of these motherfucking American animals. They had African animals coming up to your window, eating shit. It was lit.
get in 30 minutes early as well. They took a benefit that used to be free for all resort guests and put it behind a $1,000 a night paywall. Or alternatively, you can choose to pay the full cost of a daytime.
Is that a? Wait a minute, bitch. Is that a night? Mm, eh. Oh, bitch.
Ticket
That's not that bad.
at night for 3 hours after they close during one of their after-hour events. Your choice. According to a 2024 analysis by the Wall Street Journal, the typical cost of a Disney World vacation has risen nearly 40% faster than inflation since 2019. They know that this prices people out. That is the point. If you replace two low-yield families with one high-yield family, you make more money with fewer bodies in the park. And that explains mostly everything we've talked about thus far. Why cut bus capacity? Because the high-yield guest takes a minivan. Why cut ride capacity? Because the high-yield guest buys Lightning Lane. You may have even noticed a shift in the vibe of the parks. There's less streetmosphere, no Citizens of Hollywood anymore at Hollywood Studios, but there sure are a lot more places to buy an alcoholic beverage.
I'm gonna tell you, this shit finna go full AI, and this shit's not gonna be fun no more. Hey, you better get there in the next 10 years, or this shit gonna be done.
Notice how many new bars have opened in the last few years? Geo 82 was built in the area that was intended to house the canceled Spaceship Earth expansion. The Perch in the Grand Floridian lobby was built, which eliminated the ability for the annual gingerbread house to be placed in the hotel's lobby while it was under construction. And Magic Kingdom, which was dry for nearly 40 years, now serves alcohol in every table service restaurant, and opened its first fully dedicated bar, the Beacon Barrel. Even the new snack kiosk in Toy Story Land will sell you a Jack and Coke for $16. Is this because
$16? Bitch, I better get stupid tipsy. Stupid drunk? I better be on my ass.
Andy is 30 now and he needs a drink too? In the hospitality industry, alcohol typically garners an 80% profit margin, the highest of almost any item on a menu. Compare that to a ride. The Spaceship Earth expansion would have cost millions to build, continues to cost millions to operate, and generates zero direct revenue per hour. It is a negative margin asset. A cocktail, on the other hand, costs $2 to make and sells for $18, and keeps a guest occupied for 45 minutes while they sit in a lounge. From a yield management perspective, a bar is infinitely more valuable than a ride and far cheaper to keep popping them up wherever there's space. There is now even an annual holiday event, Jollywood Nights, over at Hollywood Studios, which is an event primarily marketed towards an older demographic, with an emphasis put on the many different alcoholic beverages that are unique to the event. This signals a quiet but massive shift in Disney's strategy, the adultification of the parks. They are slowly pivoting away from the budget family demographic and
I told you, what the fuck? They're getting rid of the kids. They're pricing out the kids like Pokemon. This shit is nuts.
towards the high-yield adult demographic.
That's crazy.
There
Oh,
is one
no.
final piece to the puzzle, and this one isn't exactly Disney's fault,
Oh,
or even
no.
a problem exclusive to Disney. It's our fault.
Oh.
Maybe even I'm partially to blame. We're now living in the era of the Disney bubble, manufactured daily by vloggers, influencers, and TikTok creators. Social media has fundamentally changed how we visit the parks. 10 years ago, you explored. You wandered into a shop, you found a snack you liked, and you moved on. Today, the vacation is pre-optimized. Before a guest even steps foot on property, they have watched hours of content telling them exactly where to eat, where to stay, and what to buy. Thousands of people aren't just
Hey, what I tell you, they trying to make y'all niggas look like sheep. Put y'all niggas in these fucking weird ass rooms, white walls, and have you niggas just walking around. You niggas are becoming sheep. Oh my god.
visiting Epcot, they're all trying to replicate the exact same viral itinerary that they saw on Instagram. Take, for example, the Figment popcorn bucket. Back in 2022, people waited in line for nearly 7 hours to buy a popcorn bucket. Did plenty of people want the popcorn bucket? Sure. But was it worth a 7-hour wait? Of course not.
Fuck
But
no.
social media continues to create an artificial demand for these types of products. We see the same thing at Gideon's Bakehouse. It is, in my opinion, a very good cookie. You might have your own opinion about it. But is it a wait in a virtual queue for 4 hours good cookie? No, of course
no.
not. But because every thumbnail on YouTube screams you need to try this, it artificially inflates the demand for specific items while other perfectly good options sit empty or underutilized. And this brings us to the toxic positivity issue of vloggers and social media personalities. To maintain media access,
We call those niggas sheep, really. All right. Any nigga that wants to make the same video over and over and over again as this other nigga, that shit's kind of weird.
get invited to free hosted events, and to keep the algorithm promoting their content, many creators sell a version of the parks that simply doesn't exist. They sell the best day ever. They are encouraged to basically lie to their viewers. They film their incredibly expensive cocktail in the perfectly lit lounge, but they edit out the 45 minutes that they spent sweating in the sun until it was their turn to get in. They'll show a perfectly cropped frame of an area of the park, then them getting on their favorite ride, not the congested, abysmally hot reality of a Friday afternoon. And this just sets up the average guest for failure. When a family saves up for several years to visit, expecting the idealized version of Disney World that they sell on TikTok, and are instead met with the yield management reality we've discussed in this video, the friction feels 10 times worse. They feel crowded not just because of the lines, but because the reality contrasts so much with the expectation. And it absolutely doesn't help that the flow of traffic is constantly disrupted by people monetizing your vacation, busy trying to capture the content that proves you can have a magical time, when in reality, it's just making things harder for everybody else. It's free advertising for Disney, monetarily beneficial for the creators, and bad for the average guest. And while this issue is by no means exclusive to Disney World, it certainly plays its part. So to conclude here, the parks are always crowded now because efficiency favors the shareholder, not the guest. You can still have an incredibly fun time if you manage your expectations correctly and plan accordingly. A lot has changed over the years, and to be fair, we are seeing some positive changes, as well as some of the COVID-era closures being reversed, albeit very slowly. But until the strategy shifts from yield back to capacity, the crowds are simply here to stay.
So, in conclusion, chat, hurry up and get your ass to Disney World. Hey, That's all. Shout out to y'all.
Hey guys,
Hit
it's
the
your
like.
favorite Dunk here. Go ahead and click that subscribe button below so you
Oh
don't
my
miss a single
God, this nigga
episode
loud
of
as hell.
Nightcap.